Hey everybody, the captain here, and it's a delay. I apologize for getting out these videos too late or later than I normally like to do. I usually like to get them out the day of, but we had a huge snowstorm coming here in the Twin Cities, and so we had to do a lot of preparation, all this other crap. So now I'm finally getting to it. So going in order here, and I got a video request here. And if you have a video request, go to assholeconsulting.com and read through how it works. Don't just say, "Hey, I need help. Can you give it to me for free?" No, I won't give it to you for free. It's my time. That's why I charge. So, and any other kind of life advice you may need so you don't become a fuck-up like me. Anyway, Chris writes, "There's more than $20. Don't think that. Can you do a video on the Young Turks? Just type in Young Turks Economy on YouTube and watch one or two of the videos or whatever. Their Peter Schiff one was classic. They have a huge following, like 1 billion channel views, that probably played a huge role in convincing my generation to vote Obama both times. When they talk about the economy, they are they purposely trying to distort the numbers? They make it sound like you have to be retarded to not vote for socialism. Also, can you call them out to a debate? I'll throw an extra $5 your way." Sure, I'll debate anyone. I don't think they're going to come my way because I don't have 1 billion views and I'm a nobody. But sure, I'll debate anyone. Why the hell not? I don't see any bad that will come from it. So I did spend a fair amount of time looking them up. And what I'm going to do is, I did two things. I looked at the backgrounds of the people that make up the Young Turks. Some have an adequate enough profile online. Others of them don't. And I wasn't going to spend a lot of time, but enough to analyze it. And I analyzed them using the Clary Test. And if you don't remember what the Clary Test is, I got to look it up here so I don't forget, because I made it. But it's kind of shameful of me not to know what it is. It's basically 4 questions that you can ask of any person, and the higher the score, the more you're dealing with a leftist ideologue, and the lower the score, the more you're dealing with a libertarian or conservative type individual that you trust or has competency. And so it's a very simple test, but it's worked wonderfully in the past. I do judge people asking these questions, or find, not them, but I find out these 4 things about them will tell you, whether you want this person on your team or whether this is going to be somebody you really don't want. And that is, do they have a worthless degree? Do they have no significant private sector experience? Are they currently working in one of the weak fields, government, academia, nonprofit, media, or some other such industry, except for the military and the police? Okay, because those are actual threatening real jobs. There you got to put some at risk. And do they hail from rich or well-to-do parents? So I analyze them in that regard, as well as their background, and I watched some of the videos, and this is the conclusions I drew about the Young Turks. So the first one, Mankiewicz, I apologize if I didn't pronounce that correctly. He moved to the United States at 8 years old, which indicates to me he had rather well-to-do parents. From Turkey, he moved from Turkey. So they moved. I could be wrong that they're rich, but that's usually an indicator that they are rich. Naturalized U.S. citizen. He majored in finance and law, which is not necessarily, finance is not necessarily a totally worthless degree, so I gave him half a point on that. And then law, which is, of course, fucking worthless. Went into law, and then he went into politics and activism, again, pretty much a worthless field. He did not become an engineer, he did not start his own law firm, he just went, politics, activism. And looking at his views, he claims to be a progressive, but he really is more of a libertarian. Which leads me to believe that he really never studied much or went into studying economics. What am I researching? So in one regard, he espouses a lot of conservative financial principles or libertarian principles, but then his social policy is more liberal. So he's pretty libertarian. I don't know why he would consider himself a progressive. So you rank all these, he gets a Clary score of 3, which means, rich parents, probably, majored in somewhat of a worthless thing, not a really great career, did go into finance, 3. These are all estimates, so, this is not a guy I'd hire. Maybe a guy I'd talk to, saying, what the fuck are you thinking? But anyway. The number 2 person is Anahit Kasparian. She's an immigrant from Armenia, which I didn't think was a country anymore, but then again, I'd have to refresh my geography. Also immigrant, also presumed, well-to-do parents. She has a Bachelor's of Arts in Journalism and a Master's in Political Science. So this is a flat-out she has no intention of working a real job. None whatsoever. This proves because she has since only worked in media. She has not, no real job. And I looked at some of the stuff she put together, the YouTubes, and it's you could predict it. It's so cookie cutter typical. Feminism. Women are so oppressed. You just can't make it up, and it's so standard. I know. I'm surprised she doesn't write for Jezebel or something like that. But your stereotype that you're thinking, typical spoiled little rich girl from America, even though she's from the Mideast. This is. I also remember Stefan Molyneux doing a video of her about the Young Turks, which people may want to watch for reference. And I remember listening. He took some audio out of it. You're getting what you expect from somebody who's never had to work a real job in her life and majored in indoctrination. So her knowledge of economics is horrible. It's not even horrible. It's non-existent. And so she gets a Clary Test of a 3.5. I'd rank higher, but I'm not terribly sure about how rich her parents were. Regardless, it will be relevant. Her participation in the Young Turks, I do believe, has an effect on people's perception of them. Ben Mankiewicz, this dude is like an epitist on steroids. Like, everyone in his family works in the biz. And, here you go, Ben. Here's that guy fixing a career, mommy, daddy, uncle, unkie, auntie, and cuzzy. His profile or bio on Wikipedia was not terribly detailed. I do know he's never worked a real job in his life. It's all been media. It's all been handed to him. Clary estimated test score of a 3.5. Dave Rubin, Bachelor's of Art in Political Science. This guy's kind of interesting, though. And he kind of epitomizes what I think about the Young Turks. BA Political Science, worthless. Now, you'd say, okay, here he goes. And by the way, he's gay. Oh, yeah, stereotype. But here's where it gets interesting. There's no mention of him having any benefit or any helping hand from rich parents. And the reason I say that is he also started several comedy clubs in New York, according to his profile. People like that, compare Dave to Anahit. Anahit started nothing. She just started nothing. Okay, Dave has put himself out there. He's a comedian, so he goes out there, he pounds sand. I see nothing of like he helped and he had connections and he had everybody else's profile has family mentioned name, like we're part of the Rockefellers or something like that. He doesn't. Now the only reason I mention he's gay is because I think it kind of taints his political views. But if you account for that, okay, typically if you're gay you're going to go left, but I don't see any actual behaviors of leftism in him. So I gave him a Clary Test of 1.75, which is pretty good. There's Teresa Strasser. She's another kind of interesting person. Bachelor's of Art in Journalism. You say, worthless degree. She also didn't take her husband's last name when she married. Yeah, typical leftist. But if you look at her background, she has some really serious accomplishments. She has a real career. She busted her ass off, and she came from a very poor family. She did not have any of the hand-ups or leg-me-ups that everybody else did. She has also worked on like Ben Stein and Adam Carolla, which are not known for their leftist politics. So this gal put in her dues, and I'm going to give her a Clary Test of 1.5 estimate. Could even be lower, which is good. You want lower, the better. Now, there are other people that participate, and I didn't have time to go through all the people they have on, but these are just ones profiled over on that. And, yeah, you could say, like, the founders, the ones that are there, are, like, very high on the Clary Test score. So your typical leftist brainwash type people. But after watching a couple videos, here's what I noticed. If you look at the profiles in the background of the people who are the main key players of Young Turks, and watching them interview and talking, they're intellectually honest. I don't think they're malicious or lying. What I do think is that they were brought up in such controlled and indoctrinated and skewed conditions that they think they're right. They think they're doing what's noble and right. Like, there was this one guy's like, the Republicans just, they hate teachers. It's like, only so much, you really haven't thought beyond stage one thinking. You haven't gone and looked at the corruption in the teachers union, or the fact that spending on education has nothing to do with outcome or performance in schools. So, and the other reason that, and this is very apparent, none of them have backgrounds in economics, finance, government budgeting, any of that, accounting, none of them, statistics, math, any kind of it's all politics, it's all media, it's all worthless bullshit. So as far as their training has taught them, as far as they know, they're doing the Lord's work. They think that they're, well, it's just obvious, Bill. and I shouldn't make fun of them in that regard, but they're totally clueless. They have no clue about the money, about finances, about, say, Keynesian versus Austrian economics. I don't know if any of them know how to divide by GDP. I really don't. And so what you end up getting is a very honest discussion amongst each other, but they're in an echo chamber. And so the analysis is from, basically a leftist, progressive, liberal point of view within that echo chamber. And the analysis is fine. The analysis is spot on, but it's as you notice, skewed. Now, I think that plays very well. This is why they have a billion views, because I don't know if you noticed, but pretty much every young person going through education, the K through college system, is in that exact same echo chamber. There's no Austrian economics introduced. There's no Milton Friedman. There's no conservatism. There's no free market economics. There's no libertarianism thought. There's no finance economics or all that. Everybody's getting their liberal arts degree, and they're just gonna, oh yeah, it's evil rich white people and privilege, those evil people. Yeah, they've been fed this narrative the entire time, so when they graduate, oh yeah, look, here's these people spewing the same thing that we were told because we know it's right. It's a lie. It's kind of like, it's interesting. It's sad, though, too. You think, like, the North Koreans want to get out of North Korea. Well, maybe some do. But you got to realize, like, let's say we were to invade North Korea. It wouldn't be like they'd be celebrating our coming in to free them. They are so brainwashed. They are so skewed. They would view us as an invading force, as the oppressors, and that, Kim Jong-un or whoever the latest guy is, he is like their savior. He's the one that, and they would be fanatic. They because they don't know any better. So just like the North Korean people are in this media blackout haze, even though we have a free market and free ideas of thoughts, these people are so skewed down that tunnel, down that pipe of K through college education. It's basically the education industry feeding these people that. Now, another reason I think the Young Turks are so successful, they have so many people, they're online, and they ain't fucking, what's the one, This Week in Washington, what's the one with all the old baby boomers that are about to die? I'm just saying that I don't even know what they're, because I don't watch these shows anymore, like This Washington Week or whatever. Meet the Press, that's one. Okay, Meet the Press. They're desperate to find young people to go and populate their ranks. And the Young Turks have taken over. And so it is, and one good thing, it is good to see that it's all internet-based. These people are starting, no one's going to the old networks, ABC, NBC. The Young Turks are eating their lunch via the internet. But they're merely, it's like this, imagine, like, I don't know if you ever see ground beef being made that just comes out of this tube and it dumps into this tray. That's what it's like. It's like these younger people are just brainwashed and trained to think a certain way, and they feed into the tray of the Young Turks. And the Young Turks themselves are clueless. They really believe it because they too have gone through that. It's just they happen to have the internet to catch future readers. So yeah, I mean it's and then you throw in Anna Hit Kasparian, and you read some of her leftist feminists. I can see where you think it was like totally skewed, or when they're talking about economics, or Peter Schiff, even though Schiff predicted everything. I don't know. Maybe if I watched something that you were talking about economics, I'd be like But I don't think they're evil. I don't think they're like the mainstream media where they're splicing up the phone call for Trayvon Martin where it made it sound like the guy said, oh yeah, he's black, like that. I don't see any evil like that. I see intellectual honesty on their part. It's just that they're operating from your standard flawed leftist premises that, gets them a huge market. I only have 11,000 viewers on my YouTube. I don't know what they got billions, they got millions of followers. But yeah, if I'm trying to think of another, you have to realize millions upon millions of kids every year are trained and brainwashed to think this way, and they're going to seek out media. It's the new mass media, you could say. It's unfortunate, but that's how it goes. So they're not really alternative media. I know the platform they delivered on is alternative, but they're really just, mainstream media version 2.0. They're just younger and cool. They're the Young Turks. Hey, zing. KDWB! Oh! Anyway, so that's my view on the Young Turks. Yeah, if they want to debate, sure, I guess. I don't know what we debate about, because it would basically go to premises, and it'd be a really boring debate. But yeah, so anyway, hope that helped. Don't get too worked up. That's just the way the world is. I'm sure if you're a younger person, you go to parties in your 20s, you're probably the only conservative or libertarian. And on top of it, racist, bigoted, homophobe, asshole, too. But yeah, this is the way of the world. So people want to believe in flowers and ice cream. They don't want to believe in Brussels sprouts and broccoli. Doodles.